Hello, hello. This is Andrea Bosco from the Empowerment Project. I have my wonderful partner in Shine, Dr. Shar Ray here, and we have a fantastic guest with us today that we are just, I think the minute we met each other, we just knew that this was going to be a very, very special relationship and probably a lifelong one. So I want to introduce the amazing Deanna Lettieri. She has been a dedicated teacher for 13 years, and she began her journey as a Canadian and World Studies humanities teacher, and then fueled by her profound love for history and philosophy. She had a significant shift in 6 years of special education, followed by 5 years in the guidance department. It was there that she found a new passion for guidance and mental health, which has really shaped her holistic approach to education. So just hearing that, you can already, I'm sure, tell why we love her and we love what she's doing in the space of guiding our teens and preparing them for their life, whether it's now in secondary education or post-secondary education. So welcome, Deanna. We're so happy to have you here.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. So really, we always sort of start this off by asking our guests, what made you want to get into education? What made you want to do? Was it sort of like, I wanted to be a teacher from the age of 3, or did it just happen another time?
No, that wasn't the case. What I wanted to do from the age of 3 was I was going to be this like big bad lawyer. And I got into my second year of university and I started volunteering at a elementary school off the street from the university. And I was just like tutoring kids in grade 7s and 8s in history, and just connecting with them, and like that eventually became the best part of my day. And listen, that's somebody, I love reading and I love reading history, so for me school wasn't a burden or something I just had to get through. um and then I was like, like, do I want to be a lawyer, or am I just like, I don't know. When you have all these ideas because of what success is, and then you grow up and you're like, you know what? I think a high level of job satisfaction would be something that I would have way more than any financial gain. So I quickly changed my tune. But then I was told that philosophy is not a teachable. So yeah, so I had to kind of take religious studies and change those, because a lot of the courses kind of related between philosophy and religious studies, in addition to the history. And then I went to teachers college, and I thought it was like my love for history at first that fueled, but it's not. It's the connections, the people, the shaping, like who they are and being a part of their journey that continued to get me to love my work, because I love it more now than I ever did. And I haven't taught history, I think, in a good, like 10 years.
Well, I think what I love the most about your bio is your holistic approach, and just my own background being a chiropractor. That's the way that I look at patients. I look at them holistically. I just don't look at their physical symptoms. I want to know what's going on in their life, and I want to know what's going on in their head, So it's like, it's a spiritual journey, it's an emotional journey, it's a mental journey, it's a physical journey. And like you said, that's the best way to make connections with them and be a part of their journey and figure out how you can be of service on this journey with them. So I really love that you've taken that approach with your students, because we know now more than ever that that's exactly what they need.
100%.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
no longer just an academic train, right? Like it just doesn't go one way anymore. There's so many facets to it.
Right. And you know, it's hard to for like, you know, some teachers to come to terms with that. You're not a I find that's a battle that I'm constantly trying to fight in education, that we're not teaching. You're not an English teacher. You're a teacher, right? You're
Mhm.
not a history teacher. You're a teacher. You're an educator. It's about the person first.
Yeah.
So if you can't get your curriculum across to this certain individual who has so much going on beyond the four walls of your classroom, then, you know, what good is Shakespeare?
You
Right.
got it.
Right?
You got it.
Mm.
And I have a very similar story that I didn't even know this about. How did we not know this? But I actually went to university with goals of becoming a lawyer as well. I did political science and I thought, yeah, I'm going to be this big time lawyer. But similar to you in that it was like, do I really want that? Like, is that
What
where
am
I
I
think,
chasing? Like I was like, what?
yeah, yeah. And that kind of balance or that understanding of like what my life would be like if I went that way. And um so I think I'm reminded of it mostly from my dad, who's like, you could have been a lawyer. But now I'm like, I'm yeah, I think you
Where you're supposed to be.
yeah, exactly. And as are you for sure.
Yes.
um So you had mentioned that when you stepped into guidance, that's sort of when the mental health component of your job really started to blossom. And so would you say that supporting your students' mental health has become a large part of your role? And you know, why do you think, or has it always been like that for guidance counselors in general, or sort of
I
did you
think,
just see that?
yeah, and I think a while back, like when I was in high school, I think we viewed guidance counselors as academic counselors to assist us in navigating our pathway. I think I went to my guidance counselor in grade 12 because I needed a pin to apply to university. Um, so we really didn't access the resources, or we didn't know about the resources we had available to us. I think that was um, you know, the majority of the issue. And I think now mental health support is about 90, I think, percent of what we do every single day.
Wow.
We do have we have students that we strictly help academically and with their pathway because, you know, that's what they need from us. And then we have students who we haven't even gone to academics yet.
Mhm.
Because right now in list of priority and what's going on with them, that's not something that we're touching because they need us for so much more. And those are the students that access us the most
Mm.
and most regularly. That makes sense. The academic students who, when I say academic student, let me back up. The student who needs our support for academic counseling will only
Mhm.
come, you know, when they're in grade 12 or they need to change a course. Um, so that's about twice a year, maybe. Whereas the other students will come. I have students who I have standing appointments um,
That's
Mondays,
amazing.
Thursdays.
So how do you approach that role? Like, how do you, because obviously, you know, you're not social workers, you're not trained per se in that. I know we know that you do your own amazing personal work to help you do that, but how do you support them in that way? Like without
Well,
giving away like exactly what the students are,
what
you know,
we do.
individually doing.
Yeah, well, for me, I'm all about like being a teacher. I think being or any professional, you're a lifelong learner. So I am just trying to learn as much as I can. So if a workshop comes up, that's mental health, first aid, I'll be a part of it. So anything our board offers, like the assist training, for assisted suicide, like I will make sure that I'm at least well versed enough to understand what type of support my student needs to navigate them to specific supports,
Yeah.
right? And then usually when they come into me, we start with a wellness check-in. Okay, so I have an activity that they do right off the bat. So they'll rate how they're feeling from 1 to 10 or 0 to 10. And then I have, if you're between 0 and 5, I want them to like tell me a little thing. 5 to 10, which is great, obviously. Tell me a little bit why. They have to provide, they start with 3 things of gratitude and then 2 other questions that guide them. And then they end the activity. It's like 2 minutes. They end it with 3 affirmations.
Aw.
And I found that the students struggle with,
Mm.
they can write about why they're struggling for hours, but they sit there like, Miss, I don't have anything to be grateful for. Yes, you do.
Mm.
And then, well, you're here with me. And I'm not saying because they're here with me, it's they should be grateful, but you're breathing, you're getting support, you're like taking a step to say to your counselor, like, I need help. And if I need help and I can't give it to you, I can tell you who can give it to you. So that's my role at the very least, because we know what we can and cannot do. So if it gets really bad, in terms of self-harm,
Mm-hmm.
or anything, then you have to call parents. But anything other than that, we try to give a mental health referral to the school, to SOAR, the school board, but it's 10 weeks, unfortunately. So really, the
Wow.
goal is to act as a bridge,
Yeah.
like, for outside support. So basically, get yourself on a wait list. In the meantime, you have 10 weeks of the mental health worker at our school, because resources are so limited, and a lot of our families don't, like, a psychiatrist are a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of our families, the parents, they'll have it, hopefully they have benefits or whatnot, but for the funded programs, they're on wait lists for months. So we try, and I always say, if you don't get in on a wait list in those 10 weeks, I'll put in another referral. We'll reset until you do, but the goal is for them to find outside support.
So what about, like, I know that this is something that's come up in other schools that Andrea and I have been in, culturally.
Mm.
Sometimes parents don't want their kids to see a therapist or to get outside support. Like, have you come across anything like that?
Yes. And you know what? Sometimes the parents, non intentionally, become our biggest barriers,
Yeah.
because we need parental consent
Yeah.
for a lot of the supports we offer. And while I do get that completely, I know legally, when you're not in a school setting, if you're 12 years old, you can go to your family doctor and say, hey, listen, I need antidepressants, I don't feel well. And legally, the doctor, without consent, can give them to you. So why can't we offer talk support to
Yeah.
students without
Like,
parental consent? But that's obviously, that's the biggest barrier. And we have, because parents fear, they just don't know. And I think what we talked about today, when you know, you do better.
mm-hmm.
And sometimes there are parents that they fear the label.
Yeah.
They take it personally. Like, what I offer, I work so hard for my daughter, my son. I take them on vacation. I buy them nice clothes. I get them whatever they want. So they feel like it's a reflection of them.
Mm.
Um, and we're just trying to do our best to break those barriers that, I wellness, mental health supports, and getting your mental health in check is as important as a disease that you're diagnosed with. if you're diagnosed with a certain disease and an illness, you go to the doctor and you get medication, you get support. And here I am thinking, for me, I'm like, why aren't we treating this the same?
Really, totally.
So
And isn't
the
that
parent,
interesting
yeah, can be
how
the biggest
parents,
failure.
yeah, and how we, and I think, a lot of people get defensive over that, right? And it's like, I mean, we like to think that we're ending the stigma around getting mental health support, or even just like mental wellness support,
Yeah.
and that, there's still hangups around that, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's important to even off like preventative,
Yeah.
like being consistent. Why do we have to wait until something bad happens?
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
for us to take care of all our wellness and all of that, right? And I think even culturally, Char, like you mentioned, growing up, it was like even being taking a sick day was considered like, you don't do that. You don't take a sick day. Like you gotta go, you gotta hammer through, you gotta be strong. And it's like, well, how does that help anybody?
Mm-mm.
Right. So I think even those work-life balance and the wellness and just taking care of ourselves, it's
Mm-hmm.
hard because a
I
lot of
know.
a lot of parents don't get it.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Mhm.
So do you notice any differences between, because you've been doing this pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, do you notice any differences in the support required, or even the issues that are coming from the kids, or are they the same? They're just heightened?
Um, I no, there is definitely a difference. And I think that since COVID, wellness became, a priority across the board and supporting students upon their return back to school. So I think with the school board being more open with supporting students and their wellness, I think it caused a lot of students to, like a lot of teachers will say, I think, they're taking advantage. And I think, no, I think they're just finally feeling comfortable to come forward, knowing that pre-pandemic, yeah, we talked about it.
Mhm.
Sure. Sure, people had mental health, concerns, but not like this in the
Mhm.
school anyways. And again, it took something bad to happen for us to prioritize um, mental health and wellness. And now that it's everywhere, and we are very supportive of it at the school board level with the policy 208, especially at St. Jean de Brébeuf, there are days when a teacher wants to know why a student has to go to the Zen room. And my response is, you don't need to know why. They just need a day.
Mhm.
Or a
Um,
moment or an hour,
yes. Yeah, like a B day, right? We
Yeah.
all need B days.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, kids are in a situation where they can't make the decision, I'm going to stay home today and take a sick day, even if it's a wellness day, right? Their parents make them come. So they come under all this distress, and we provide them a space. And that's the biggest challenge too, when teachers are like, well, they're going to get a 0 on their test. Well,
Mm.
right. But our admin staff is very like, no, that's not okay. Whereas pre-COVID, I think a lot of that happened. There's less
Yeah.
empathy for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Less empathy, less
Yeah.
acceptance of that.
And I think students are coming forward more. Um, but I find that a lot of students struggled. They lost like, what is it, 3 years
Mhm.
of learning from home, being stuck inside. And that age is so critical.
Yeah.
Socializing, being like living a normal life, especially at that age, is so critical for their development.
Yeah,
100%.
my daughters, one of them lost 11 and 12, one of them lost 7 and 8, and then my son lost 4, grade 3 and 4. So like I saw it hit these kids at different levels. And, at the end of the day, it looks different because of what grades they're in, but the underlying issues are all the same.
Yes, of
And,
course.
and I think, you said such a good thing. Like, these issues were always there, like pre-pandemic, like the cracks were always there. After the pandemic, things have kind of split open. You can't ignore it anymore. But I also think that now it's like there's extra work on the plate of teachers as well, because that stuff could be tucked under the rug pre-pandemic, and now they can't. So it is becoming a
Yes.
very big part of their classroom, of the way that they're grading, their interactions with their students, right? That's also been impacted tremendously, because I there's like, not only have they gone through their own mental challenges, but they're also trying to figure out ways to cope, right? So
Exactly. And I think teachers are also, learning to navigate. So first it was just academic curriculum and classroom management and the behavior. And now it's a whole extra layer of responsibility for a teacher times three, especially in secondary, because, they have three classes, there's three in each class. So, and even to keep up with who has access to a policy 208 and the issues. It's also difficult for them because we can't disclose any confidential
Right.
information. So they're kind of have to go based on, okay, well, they have a policy. So their counselor and the VP basically is saying that there's an issue. So I have to trust that. So everybody's just trying to navigate this new, world, I guess, even though it's been a little bit. But I think too, teachers are struggling because they keep being told we need to support the wellness of our students, we need to support their mental health, and they feel like I'm struggling too.
yeah,
I went through COVID too. And if I don't even know how to help myself, how am I supposed to help 33 teenagers in front of me?
and that's the same thing with parents, right?
Yeah,
They say
exactly.
exactly the same thing about parents. I mean, they went through it too, and yes, we're very concerned about the kids. And at the end of the day, parents and teachers end up becoming very foundational parts of any child's growth. So if we as adults are falling apart, then what are we able to offer these students, right? So then it begs the question, well, what are we doing to support the teachers? Like, what are we doing inside schools to support them so then they can support their students? You know what I mean? Because again, they're also not psychologists or
Right.
counselors, or you know what I mean? So what are we doing in these schools?
Right. And you today was something critical was mentioned that I say all the time to my students. I honestly use this phrase at home. Um, we're only in control of ourselves. And we cannot control the actions of other people. We can help them. We can, suggest how to for them how to navigate a certain situation. But at the end of the day, we can't control what happens only within ourselves. And I always find that after COVID, and I think I've mentioned to you, and I think I've mentioned to both of you during COVID when I had my second son, I found myself and my own mental health struggling. So I decided, okay, the only person who can fix this is me. So I need to just get in check, so I could be a better wife, a better mom, a better teacher, a better friend. I can't be there for everybody when this is how I'm feeling. So I made that choice to take control of myself and work on myself to be better. And I think some people are not, because they don't even know where to start.
Exactly.
And that's when the struggle comes, when they don't know where to start, but also that there is an issue,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think
within
that's,
them.
yeah. And then it's just like the vicious cycle continues, right? And now you're a self-aware individual who yeah, you are.
Try.
Yeah, but you saw that you needed help
Yeah.
and you said to yourself, I'm the one that's going to help me. And it doesn't mean that you do it alone, because we all need support, but it's you that makes the decision, and you have to stick to the routine or to whatever it is, your tools that are helping you. And, you know, just think about how challenging it was for you to maybe make that choice. And then think about all the people that don't even have that inkling, like you said, of like, they don't even know how to do it, let alone if like even the awareness that they should be doing it.
I know.
So it's an uphill, but I think, you know, we learn from our kids so much, and hopefully what we're trying to do in educating these kids to then hopefully pull in their parents and all that, and then get the support from for teachers too. We gotta figure that out for
Yeah.
sure.
I think that that's important too, because like we expect them to, you know, let's add something else to the list. Let's
Yeah.
support, you know, let's support students with their wellness and their mental health, but then they're struggling. So a lot of them it's resentful. Like, why is the board just focusing on the students when, you know, I'm suffering too and I need the support? And I think teachers are getting lost
Yeah.
in that. And you know, the concern was so much on the students, which they're both equally important. So
Yeah. So in a perfect world, you know, let's say we did have a magic wand. How would you like to see, you know, the guidance department supported, you know, teachers supported, you know, you know, would you suggyou anything if you
oh
could?
my gosh, how long do you guys have?
I know. Do you
That's all like you know what, first, like, I'll start with guidance. It's And you know what, it all boils down to money. So more
Yeah.
money, more counselors, less workload. Because you see us, like, there
Yeah.
are days when, like, I don't even get to our messages just because either I'm talking all day and I'm just like, I have to go home and just put my phone away,
Yes.
or I just don't even see it. Like, do you know, like, and um but we need more counselors, we need more mental health professionals in the schools, and we need one per school. We can't just keep working on one who comes every Wednesday, meets with the kids and like checks. Not that it's their fault. That's just the industry. That's what that is funded. Once a week on Wednesdays, we get our mental health worker. She comes in, she meets all the kids on her list. Check, check, check. Off you go. Right.
And how
So,
many, yeah, and like really, how many kids can she see in a
well,
day?
that's why we have a wait list, and
Oh,
she
that's
goes
the
to a bunch of
10-week
different.
wait list.
Yeah. And
Oh my
that's why we
goodness.
have a bunch of she goes to a bunch of schools.
Wow.
Um, and so I would love to see money being put into having one per school,
Yeah.
at the very least, right? And
Like a full-time permanent position.
yes, and just support, like, and support for teachers, you know, things like workshops, lunch and learns, just, and I know it's hard to reach everybody, but I think if people hear it enough,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna get people who are like, even if they're so, it's not their thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I always say, like, you know, everybody has their thing with how they decompress, with how they, you know, uh, practice gratitude and wellness, and like, everybody does their own thing. But if they hear it enough, you will get people who say, you know what, let me just try,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then they'll love it eventually. And like, you're reaching them. So people can only ignore for so long, but I think it's not being done enough. And I think our school board and mental health department is doing what they can.
Yeah.
And then, you know, amazing people like yourselves are
Mm-hmm.
doing what you can. And I think we just got to keep doing what we can,
Yeah.
because we can't spin gold out of yarn. And right now in education, we have yarn.
Yeah. And you know, when we chatted with Christine Costantino, the wonderful principal who was with your school and has now moved to another school, but you know, we got into the discussion around like, is our schools a place for mental health support, right? Like, are we asking too much from the schools? Or is this is like part of the pillars, right, of the village, let's say, that it takes to raise a
And
child?
the circle of care. And
Yeah.
I personally like don't think we're asking for too much, because there are more students than not where school is their place.
Yes.
It's their safe place. It's the place that they go to escape home. It's the place that they go to and feel safe. Um, so why not address, because at the end of the day, yes, school, you say the word school, you think of that's where I go and learn, and that's where I go and get my marks. And but at the end of the day, like I've mentioned, that doesn't matter if we are suffering and we're not taking care of our mental health, because eventually, what is that A worth?
Right.
And listen, I'm not sitting here and saying don't try your best, doesn't matter what, because at the end of the day, like you're more than just your grades. And that's the message that I want to get across, because success is not money. And like, let's reach the best possible goal of being the best big bad lawyer, right? And it's, which for some people that's amazing, that's what makes them happy, and that's, but for you know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm right, 'cause I feel like I'm so passionate about this area that
No, I hear you.
you
It-
know
It's our
Totally
society's
hear
just
you.
being driven by I don't want to say the wrong things, but emphasis is being placed on very material things versus very emotional things. So like, the conversation that we were having earlier today about emotional intelligence, right?
yeah
And nowadays you can't get hired in a company if you don't have that type of emotional intelligence that they're looking for, which is what everybody is missing right now. And the truth is, the emotional intelligence, which is what? Emotional intelligence is self-awareness, it's empathy, it's being able to build proper relationships with other people, it's managing your own behavior. So those are like the four pillars. So they're pillars, but they're also foundational to anybody's success, right? Because again, people are always looking outside for things, but if you have mastered that success starts here, it starts inside. That's where, your true success can actually flourish. So it's just like our emphasis is being placed on different things. And again, it can be cultural, it can, it could be what you're learning from home, from your parents, it's what you might be seeing on social media now, right? Like there's so many different places where these ideas are being placed into kids' heads. And that's their idea of success. Because I mean, Andrew and I have been doing this for a while, and we talk to a lot of not only teenagers, but a lot of elementary school kids. And their ideas of success are becoming famous YouTubers, like major influencers, or professional gamers.
yeah
But you know what I mean? So that might not be possible for the whole, grade
right
5 class
yeah
of, 40 students. So, like it's just funny what's driving our kids these days. Right?
right right and it's funny, when I was younger and applying to teachers college, because I grew up in a very Italian household, like traditional. My parents were traditional. And I remember saying, my mom saying to me, "Joe, how smart you are. You can be anything." And now she looks at me, she's like, "You are the one person in our family who like is obsessed with her work." Like that is incredible. And it's crazy how, and I didn't do, like, it wasn't like I did anything to say to her, like, I just let her, and eventually she evolved, and through time and just witnessing and also working on herself, she sees like, I was crazy. She ever sees
Right?
this.
I know. I've heard the same thing.
Yeah.
I heard that a lot of like, you like, I still get, you could have been a lawyer, but I
Yeah.
also get, you're so smart, you could, you know, you have such an like a business sense, like you do, but you know, when you get a little bit of that validation, like now that, you know, my family sees that we've created this business and we've cracked through a lot of ceilings to get, let's face it, like some new type of things into old institutions, you know, you do get that validation of like, wow, like you're
Yeah.
doing a good job.
No, and it feels good. Even this
Yeah.
morning, my mom sends me, oh my God, hilarious. She sends me a post on Instagram. She's like, you should post this for your kids.
Right.
Oh,
I know. And I'm like, who are you? This is the same woman who was like,
but
you could have been
but
anything. You could have
look,
been a lawyer.
right, like you did you, like you
Mhm.
didn't try to change her,
No.
you just like controlled your own responses, you controlled your
Yeah.
destiny.
I
And
can't control her and her thoughts. I just did me. And
yeah,
eventually she just saw it happen and unfold and was like, I think she's onto
yeah.
right,
Yeah,
right. And you know, it's sometimes it's like you didn't need it, but it's nice to hear.
it is for sure.
Absolutely. And you know what, I think that's what a lot of these students are looking for too, right, is just that, like, I believe in you and you're doing a great job. And you know, we put a lot of our own hangups, our own sort of ideas of what we want our children to accomplish, and usually it's what we didn't accomplish. Right, it's like we
Yeah.
totally, you know, are, what's the word, we're
Living
You're
through them.
projecting.
yes,
Right.
yeah, we're living through our children, right,
Yeah.
like, and it's, and I think a lot of us do it without knowing, and then when you realize it, you're like, okay, I gotta stop.
Yeah.
So that's
They say things
interesting.
like every other day, okay, I need to stop. And then 2 days later, I'm like, things again.
I'm doing it again.
Yeah.
I know. Oh, totally. But
Yeah.
again, it's programming, it's conditioning. It takes a, like, but I think the fact that you become aware of it at like at some point, you're not just blindly, is
Mhm. Of
important, right?
course.
Definitely important.
That's why we're always learning. Like I'm never not learning.
Yeah.
And that's why this job's also the best because there's always something to learn.
Hmm. I
So,
imagine, right? You're dealing with, and it's constantly new, you know, new souls coming through
yeah.
every year.
And
So,
even just to get like, I like to get to know them because my thing is, you know, if I want them to open up to me in order to even understand like where I need to navigate them in terms of supports, they need to trust me. And I
mhm.
always make a joke. I was like, okay, you trusted me with something, I'm going to trust you with something. And I'll kind of tell them a relatable story. So they view me as like a human and not just, because I remember when I was in high school, I would see my teacher out, like at the grocery store. I was like, they go to their own grocery.
Right?
Like they were famous. And now I'm just like, we're people. Like,
Totally.
and yeah, we go to the grocery store
I,
and we have our own stories and I think they take comfort in knowing like, oh my God, you're not just like this like guidance counselor who like may wear a blazer who sits in this office and just it's way more than that. That's why I'm very like, I don't know, I try to be very outgoing with them and just for them to get to know like who I am.
that's
Hmm.
And
amazing.
it works for some and others are like, Miss, stop.
And had, like, that just brings up a question, like, you know, you deal with, you're at a large school, you deal with a list of students. Obviously, you don't see them all, but like, how do you deal with that kind of feeling of like, oh, I just want to help them all, but I can't?
It's hard. I used to more so than it depends on the case, but like take it home with me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I realized that, okay, wait a minute, like now this is weighing on me. So I need to be kinder to myself. Um, that I can't save everybody, but what I can do is keep doing what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So we make ourselves available, we make ourselves open. I will never turn a student away,
Mm-hmm.
even if they're not mine. I kind of take the approach that during the day is all about people. And then I have to sit and do my work in the evening, or, when the bell rings, because the students are there during the day and that's when they need us. And I will never, so I kind of just changed the way I was working a little bit. And now I'll have my list of high flyers that I'm like, okay, I check on once a week. And then I'll have the students who just need me for academically, and then I do what I can. And I think that came with being kinder to myself. Like, I'm not a hero, I'm a human. And that's the end of it. But it was a lot harder, especially when I started in guidance. I wanted to just save everybody. And we can't always do that. So I just changed the way I work. And now, the days are just are for students. And if they don't come see me or they don't come in, okay, I'll get some work done. But otherwise, I'm walking the halls, just making myself present so they know she's there.
Yeah.
And this is what we offer. And that's why I'm constantly doing a balance of posting on Instagram about wellness and motivation and mental health. And then there's pathway stuff, because we can't ignore that stuff.
But they have to.
Right. And then I'm just trying to be, balanced, and just know that everything that I'm posting is not just lip service. It's stuff that I believe, and I want them to see that through me when they get to know me.
Yeah. And I think, it's just realizing that you're not going to help them all, but the ones that you do is amazing.
And helping 3 or 1 even is better than 1. But I think every year I'm getting better and easier on myself. So that's helping. And a lot of the times, making students accountable. If that student I had specifically today, I'll give her homework, and then she'll come to me the next week and be like, okay, I didn't do it. I just couldn't. I'm like, okay, so that's not your homework, until it just getting them to be part of the process, rather than thinking that, okay, I'll just go to Miss Lettieri and she'll solve my problems, because
Totally.
right, I'm not there after school. So we have to be accountable, and I'm also to taking that approach with them. They don't always like to hear it, but I think because we form such good relationships, when I'm hard on them, they're like, okay, maybe I get it. They don't take it the wrong way, because they know it's coming from a place of love.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to just get them to dig a little deeper, because at the end of the day, they have the answers that they're looking for, but they just have never been asked to go into those dark spaces to find them, right? And so you have to ask the right questions, and you have to put the onus back on them. And I always talk about the Socratic method, and well, why do you feel like that? Or why do you think that? And really getting them to get their wheels turning, right? And well, yeah, that's a really good question. Well, why do I feel like that? And because again, the answers are all there. It's like they have to be provoked in the right way to find the answers.
And to reflect.
I don't mean, and to reflect. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I don't mean provoking in a negative way, but it's almost like you gotta peel back a little bit of those layers, because the answer is right there, my friend, right?
Right. And yeah, you're absolutely right. And for them, they need to be a part of the process, for them to understand too what's going on and why they feel this way. And and even at home, if I say something and it offends somebody, right, and I'll say well, how could I have said it differently that would have been a way that didn't hurt you, or got and just, that's also reflecting, how could I have said that differently so I didn't offend that person, but I still got the same message across. And I say that to students a lot too, and having them just reflect on where it's coming from, because a lot of them too are even afraid to say things out loud.
100%.
They're afraid of being bullied. They're afraid of being judged. And Yeah, like I find that's a problem too. Like they don't want to tell their parents because the thought of being vulnerable with their parents is like completely embarrassing. They
Hmm.
don't want to be vulnerable with their friends because like and that's also a challenge that we're facing. Like they don't even want to work on themselves because they think it's silly. Like I have a student all the time. She's like, honestly, miss, it doesn't matter. Like it's nothing. It's stupid.
Yeah.
And
And I think that's normal teenage behavior for sure, but at the same time, I we all know deep down when you get them talking,
oh
they
yeah,
they want it. Like they want the help, they want to be heard, they want to share their feelings. They really do. It's just on the surface, it's like, oh, forget it. I'm fine, or leave it or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of being that little like monkey on their back sometimes, in like a good way,
of
to
course.
keep opening
And
the
like that
channel.
student today, she was so against like coming to see me and she was just anything that we spoke about, like she would laugh out of kind of embarrassment or discomfort.
Mm.
So through those wellness check-ins and getting to know her, I learned that she loves to write. So I gave her a journal and I said, if you don't know or you don't have the courage to say things out loud right now, write it down.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
And she came to see me the next time and she came up to me and she's like, I wrote you something because I don't know how to tell you because it just makes me uncomfortable. So I wrote it down, read it.
Oh,
So that's how we started communicating. She writes, she comes in, I give her the wellness check-in, she gives me her journal, she's like, read it. And then I'll read it. And then that's how she doesn't know how to bring it up. So based on what she's written on the check-in and in her journal, it will probe me to ask questions and start a conversation that way. She will never come out and speak.
Wow.
but that's
So
so beautiful, right? We all
It's
have
very
different
powerful.
forms of communicating, and let's face it, like these kids are more in the verbal, I'm sorry, the nonverbal, like the written ways, like that's how they communicate. It's all on text
yeah,
and social media. It's
exactly.
like so these written forms, like that's okay. Like you meet them where they are, right?
Exactly. And at first she was a little reluctant. She said, what am I gonna write on? Like my phone? I was like, no. I was like, do you not have a journal? She's like, no. I'm like, I have one for you. She's like, and
Of course you
now
have it.
I see her Mondays and Thursdays, and then and I said, listen, like even if there's days you don't want to write, at least I want you to tell me, write 3 affirmations because she's struggling with her self-esteem
Mhm.
and 3 things of gratitude. And I said, if there's nothing to write, you don't have to write, but at the very least, I want you to do that. No, she's writing like paragraphs every day.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so
And
amazing.
it's the best because I know it's going to take like an hour with her. So it's like she comes in, we swap, I give her a piece of paper, she gives me the note, and then we just read. We just sit in silence and read each other. Like,
Well, listen,
Perfect.
that might be her first book, right?
yeah, right. And I'm telling you, and now she'll write in it. She's like, I used to think coming to see you was like the most mortifying thing ever. And then she wrote in brackets, no offense.
Yeah.
Um, but now she's like, she looks forward to it. And that I was just like the best. That's why I have the best job ever.
Oh, I love that.
Me
That's
too.
amazing. We are so lucky to have teachers like you or people like you in our education system, honestly, truly, truly,
Thank
truly, truly.
And like
So,
you.
oh, thank you. So we always sort of end on this last question, and it's very open-ended, and there's no wrong answer. But if we were to ask you, what do you know for sure? If you were to finish that sentence, I know for sure. What I know for sure is,
What I know for sure is that we're not going to stop spreading awareness and
Mm,
doing what we do, even when we take 2 steps backwards.
Yeah.
yes, yes.
And I take comfort in knowing that, again, I can't control other people, but I can control what I do. And this is what I'm going to do.
Amen,
Yeah.
sister.
Yes.
It's the ripple effect, right? You help one and you don't know how far that help goes, right?
Mhm.
So
And I like your positive affirmation. So I put them beside my coffee machine.
Nice.
oh,
Yes. So I put them beside my coffee machine and every day I change it up.
Nice.
And at first my husband was like, what are these things? And now, let me tell you, ladies, he's like, you forgot to change it. I'm like, so it doesn't matter how people react to things at first.
Yeah.
They always come around.
mhm.
Consistency. Like you said, even if it's 2 steps back, you're going to continue, you're going to keep
Exactly.
going. I love
Right?
that.
I'm telling you,
I
at
mean,
first he was,
Andrea and I have had, sorry, go ahead, Deanna.
no, I was just say at first he was like, oh my God, well, what's these things? And he didn't get it. And now he's like, hey, you didn't change yesterday's, but you're reading them. Don't
Yeah.
even.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
I'm
I
like,
was gonna say
ladies,
that,
thank you.
yeah, thank you. I mean, listen, it's the same thing. Andrea and I've had, we've had so far a very interesting journey through everything that we are doing. And yeah, there have been times where we've had to take a few steps back, or, you know, someone's closed the door, but it hasn't stopped us because we really believe what we're doing is making a difference. And remember, if we're impacting one child, one student in our sessions, then we feel like we've made a difference. And I think that's what we talk about, the ripple effect. We all have to do our part, right? We all have to do our part with what we know and how we know to do it. And then we just, you know, takes root and grows something really beautiful.
Exactly. I want to see so much of you guys.
Oh, we feel the same way. We feel the same way.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much, Deanna, for taking this time to speak with us,
Of course.
to share your knowledge, your expertise, your passion. It is so appreciated and so needed. So thank you.